Hey guys, it's Tizzy time, and today I'm here with a very special guest. I got my Christmas stuff on because we are recording around the holidays, but I'm going to let my co-hosts introduce themselves. They're super awesome, by the way, so I'll let them go forward and introduce themselves. But welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. So, my name is Brendan Horned. I am owner of Clermont Publishing and Consulting. We are a publishing company that really prides itself on helping connect indie authors with the resources and everything that they need to find success. And also a lot of fun. We do like a bunch of different innovative uh, things that we're working on for our books. So, like our last book had like a playlist, QR codes in it with playlist that with links to playlists where you could listen to music while you're reading. So, we're really trying to jump the publishing industry into the future. So, I'm super excited. I'm so glad that everyone's here, and yeah, let's go.
Yes. First of all, first and foremost, I'm going to take these off because they're glitching. But more importantly, I love how you mentioned QR codes in books. That sounds so one innovative, but also two like very inventive. Like I've never heard anyone do something like that. And I think that's awesome because as a reader, I love a good playlist or a good, let me pause and find a song that matches this chapter to really
Yes.
fuel my reading. So I love that
Yes.
you do that. Can I ask what a few songs that was on the playlist? Like
Oh,
what were we feeling? Was it like a little Katy Perry-ish? Was it Beyonce? What were we thinking? R&B, pop?
so
I'm interested.
it was such a mixture because like on like some of the sad chapters I would have like like alternative music, sadder stuff, and then on some of like the more happier musics I'd have like R&B and like chill lo-fi, and it's like literally a little bit of everything. And let me find it because there's so many like
Yeah.
songs on it. I think it was like 4 or 5 hours worth of
Of
songs
music.
on this playlist.
That's amazing though. And I love how you said like you kind of made it like very different. Like it wasn't just one type of genre. It wasn't one type of feel. I like that's amazing, Brendan. Like just to hear like, all right, I could be in chapter one and we're talking about how we just met and it's the butterflies and I have a song to appeal to that. And then now we're in chapter eight
Yes.
and I'm heartbroken and I have a song for that as well. Wow.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
that's
So like some of the songs that I have in it is Frank Ocean, of course.
oh, you sold me. Drop the book. Drop
I
the book.
got I got some Ruby Waters,
Oh.
some some like less known people like Henry Virus, Traces, Bruno Major, JP Sachs, Labyrinth.
Peace out.
Yes, I love him too.
I
He's
love the
so
indie artist. No, he's great. He's great. He's great.
yeah.
And I want music like artists like him are what music should be on our like screens and our influencing influence us mostly. But it's like we get the bitter end of the stick. Like, and it's
Mm,
no shade to anybody doing music right now. But
yeah.
how many songs are we going to talk about? Like, F a man, get money, money's
Yeah.
first, I get fly. Like I love that. The girlies are doing what they need to do. They don't need a
Yeah.
man. But man, can we talk about going to get a degree? Can we talk
Facts,
about,
yeah.
chasing a career and being a baddie within, loving yourself without having to, of course, pivot on what society wants you to talk about. So I love
Yeah.
that you have that within your playlist. I feel like that's super important.
Oh
And it sounds
yeah.
like you have your ear to a lot of the music or like good music.
Oh, I mean, I try. I try.
I
If I'm
love
going
it.
to put it out there for the world to see, I gotta have something good to put out.
I'm telling you, you literally do. And I feel like that's the issue now too. Everybody's coming out with just like, all right, let's make music that'll make people dance. But
Yeah.
sometimes I don't want to dance. Sometimes I want
Yeah.
to twirl around my house with a glass of wine and
Yes.
sit in a corner and light a candle. That's it.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Bottles empty.
Yes.
Yep. Exactly. I hear that.
Literally looking at it like, oh my gosh, I gotta go re up. That's, just a nice vibe. So I love that you include that with the books.
Mm.
Please, you have to, do you mind like sharing the title of the book? I'm
Yeah.
going to go on Amazon and buy, but I know a lot of readers would love to see that in practice versus theory as well, what that looks like as far as, the book.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the title is The Spark Before the Flame.
Ooh, and even the title is just so like mystic. I love it. It's mysterious. Obviously, we
Yes.
know it's about love, but it's like the
Mm.
spark before the flame.
Hmm.
Ooh, or are we talking about? See, it's now my mind is going. Stop. I don't know why you got me started. Is it the spark before you met your love? Is it like notebooky? Like, see, that's so many areas my mind is going. I love that.
What's crazy is it was actually compared to The Notebook, which seems like way outrageous. Like, but someone left a review and I was like, I'm touched, but you're wrong. But I love that.
I would have been like, maybe you think the spark I'm talking about is Nicholas Sparks, but that's not what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
I love that. The spark before the flame. Make sure you
Hmm.
guys go check that book out, and of
Yes.
course support a zillennial. That's what they call us, millennials, zillennials. I don't even know what we are. I'm Gen Y. Why are we so in the middle? But
Yeah.
support a young entrepreneur going forward and doing what it is that they need to do, because we don't have that
Yes.
anymore in our society,
Mm-mm.
really. Like, I feel like entrepreneurship is one of those things. Like, if you're in it, you're in it. But
Hmm.
also, if you're not in it, like if you're half pant leg in, half pant leg out, people are gonna call you out on that,
Yeah.
and they're gonna suggest you go get a full-time job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very like I feel like society like they have literally taken any sort of creativity that like the human race has and they're like, you just put that away. We don't want you to
Yeah, we
have
don't
that.
want
Like,
that. Like clutching your purse, like,
exactly.
oh my goodness, no, you
Yeah,
can't be creative. We don't want that. But I
exactly.
totally agree with that. I really do. And it's honestly, it's unfortunate right now, especially within society, because I feel like right now is another golden age of creativity. Like, as much as
Hmm.
people don't realize, like the past 10 years have been very prominent in shifting what a creative looks like. And we've seen it. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go on TikTok right now and make a video and cash out a check by the end of this week for $40,000, you know?
Yes.
So, I mean, I feel like, yeah, everybody needs to tape their mouths, be quiet. Here's a piece of tape, it's for your mouth. And
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
understand that, we're going to be shifting and be in a place where creativity takes over all. Um, and we've seen that in areas such as AI. I mean, as much as
Yeah.
people are like, oh, that's technology, is still very heavily creative, and it has those creative elements within whatever its code is, but also what within who it's appealing to. So I'm
Hmm.
interested to see what that looks like. Everybody's about to, eat their words, Brendan. We're about to be swimming in
I know. I'm ready for it. Like this, it needs to change like that. It really does, because it's like everything feels so limited at this level, but like as soon as like more creatives start like getting involved and creating things in like their entrepreneurship, it will like set everything free and it will feel like a whole different world.
I agree with that too. Yeah, like, and it really will, because it's not going to be numbers based. It's not going to be money business based, quote
Mm,
unquote big pharma, big corporations. It's really going to be your neighbor who goes forward and loves to make bedazzled tumblers, or it can
yeah.
be, like it's just so crazy how we're shifting. Or, your roommate who makes this weird soap, but now the soap has allowed him to glow like glass,
Mm,
because his skin is so on par. But those are just like a few things that I'm thinking are like creative, but also business, like sales based. But
yeah.
like, even like podcasting, I mean, we've seen it. You have people such as Alex Earl, Bobby Althorf, you
Hmm.
know, women who were everyday housewives or everyday employees, like some of us are, and decided, you know what, I want to break the mold. I want to be different. What is needed at the moment? So I love that we are shifting towards less serious roles, if that makes sense. Like, we don't have to
Yeah.
do a 9 to 5 and work till 10, and oh, I hate my life, I hate my boss, that they
Right.
kind of like portray in movies. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see what that looks like too. So my question for you within that, and I feel like this is a great segue, what advice would you give someone who's interested in either writing a book or interested in publishing something that's already written? What advice would you give them if they don't want to go to, the big corporations like Penguin or Macmillan? How would they
Yeah.
go forward and start it within?
Wow. Yeah. That's such a loaded question.
I'm so sorry. I should have broke it out. Well, all
No,
right,
no.
let me start with the first one. What advice would you have for someone who's interested to like get into your industry and start book writing?
Oh, um, be committed. There's a and there's so many writers that I come across, and I was one of these writers, and I was writing my book. I was like, oh yeah, this is okay. I was like, definitely not publishing worthy. Definitely, would never be able to publish it myself. That's insane talk. But like, honestly, if you're committed, like you absolutely can do it. Like, don't think for a second that it's not possible to commit and publish your work because it absolutely is. Whether it's by yourself, whether it's with a big company, whether it's with an indie company, it's absolutely possible. And you have different options and avenues, and you just have to find what works best for you. And yeah, your writing. I actually just had a talk with one of our authors a couple weeks ago, and she'll be so excited that I'm saying this on the podcast. But we were talking, and they were like, what if my book only gets read by 10 people? I'm like, first of all, I know 10 people right now, myself, not including your friends and family, that would buy your book like right now. So first of all, it won't happen. But second of all, even if you put your book out there and it's not a huge success, I can guarantee you that there will be someone that's reading that book that resonates with it on such a deep level that it will cause like a shift in them or like an emotion in them that like you wouldn't be able to expect. And I've felt that reading some books before. Um, and so yeah, no matter how successful you become, you don't need to worry about being successful because in this is this is a very two-sided thing because being successful in the literature industry is great and you'll have the ability to reach so many people, touch so many people's lives with just your words, like literally something you typed out on a screen. And at the same time, if it doesn't reach that many people, I know that for a fact you have touched someone. So, yeah.
I love that, and I love how you basically explained it too. Like, yeah, you're worried about the wrong people, and it kind of ties me like back into like seeing a post like
Hmm.
your friends and family are not your target audience. And when I first like seen a post, I'm like, yes, they are. It's
Yeah.
me. Like, yeah. Like, if you
Exactly.
could go watch Cooking with Kaya, you could watch all these people. I'm definitely your target. It's me. But really being able to dive into entrepreneurship full time and take a step back and see what that looked like, I realized you're very similar to what you're saying. You're right. Your family, your friends, they may not buy it, and who cares? You have 20 people in Utah who may love what you're writing. You may
Mhm.
appeal to an entire group in Canada who love your book and have just ordered, a bulk of 40 for book club. They
Yeah.
want a signature, So I just love how you went forward and explained like, no, everybody who you may be in proximity to or want that proximity with, they may not purchase your book. But
Hmm.
that doesn't mean you stop chasing your passions and you stop chasing your dreams. And I
Yeah.
love that because that's something you want to hear when writing a book. Because allegedly, and I don't know if this is true, now I have to ask you the myth, if there is a lot that goes into book writing as far as like being stressed, being overwhelmed, is that a true thing or is that false? Like, or is it dependent on the writer?
Ooh. So it's very dependent. One thing, there's kind of two sides to this. One thing that I will say is that as a writer, when you are writing like certain scenes, I notice I like if I'm writing a sad, depressing scene, I get sad and depressed. Like, don't talk to me the rest of the night. I'm popping a bottle and don't, yeah, leave me alone. But if I'm writing like a super happy, super lovey scene, like I feel that. Um, so that's kind of one side of it, like as a writer, how you kind of feel those emotions that you are writing about. As a publisher, it's
He
very
said, wait,
dependent on.
two sides. He said, as a
Yeah,
writer,
yep,
I get it, but let me tell you, as a publisher, hold on.
yeah, yes. As a publisher, depending on, whether you go with a traditional publishing company, an indie publishing company, or you self-publish, you're going to want to set um, goals, you're going to want to set timelines, and you should do your very best to meet those timelines. Um, with a traditional publishing, the stakes are a lot higher. They gave you money. They expect you to have uh, that work done by that date, no exceptions.
Oh, wow.
Of course, there might be a little bit of leeway, but they're going to express their dissatisfaction with that. When you're self-publishing, publishing with some indie publishers, it's a lot more lax. Worst case scenario, if you're not able to meet that standard, you'll sit down with yourself, with your publisher, and you'll set a new time. So I think depending on that side of things, depending on like who you go with, will kind of differ on like how much stress you have.
I like the way you said that too. And I honestly didn't know there were so many angles you could go within publishing. I see you said you have the option to self-publish. You have the option to, of course, go the big leagues route, for lack of a better term, and be
Mm,
able to go forward and get your advance before writing your book. Within
yeah.
that, what would be your advice as a publisher and a writer as what path people should go? And it can be, I know that's a loaded question as well, because it's like, it's up to you, but
Yeah.
what would you suggest, knowing that you've been in those areas? What would you suggest for either a first time writer or somebody who's very well known? What path would you tell either of them to take?
Yeah, I would tell you to reach out to Clermont Publishing and Consulting. Nah.
I love that. Yes, you better reach out.
Honestly, there have been some successful self-published authors, especially in recent years. So I think that is definitely a possibility and alternative to traditional publishing. But you have to consider your reputation that goes into effect, your resources, your writing, and your ability to market. Because I don't think a lot of people realize how much marketing goes into book publishing. If like is after you finish that book, you are just a marketer. That is your job. So
So it's like a dual thing. Not only are you a writer, but you're also working in the marketing in the
Mm,
graphic design field. It sounds like, if, of course, if you want to go that route and be on Canva making, graphics for your book, but
yeah.
just to hear like, because not and no shade or any like I thought writers didn't do all that, but more importantly, it's like so crazy to hear that because as a kid growing up, you think a writer is just this amazing person who just writes a book, it gets published, it's shared, and that's it. Like you got this amazing book, you add it to your collection, that becomes a part of who you are. But
Mm,
now hearing that potentially Eric Carle could have been doing his own, or
yeah.
Stephanie Meyer doing their own marketing and billboarding, it gives a new appreciation to the craft, for me at least, because
Mm,
I'm a bookworm. I love reading, but on the author side and then the publishing side, I'm not really too aware of what that looks like. But
mhm.
just hearing you talk about it and hear the dexterity that goes behind it, it definitely gave me you guys deserve a standing ovation and round of applause, because if I'm writing 190 to 340 page, book, and then you telling me, yeah, go on Canva and make 10 graphics for this week because you have to promote it, I think I would crash out
Yeah.
personally. What?
Yeah, and that's not the avenue for everyone. Because there's some people that just, that's not their goal. They don't want to market, and for that, I think that traditional publishing is an option, but you have to consider that traditional publishing isn't without risks, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, self-publishing, indie publishing, there's risk there. Well, there's also a lot of risk with traditional publishing because they're going to give you an advance. But if your book doesn't sell and it doesn't meet that advance, they expect that money back most of the
Right,
time.
right. It reminds me, and please tell me you've seen the show. If not, please watch it, because I think it definitely relates very similar to your industry. And if you watch, please write me and I want to unpack it because I need your mindset as a publisher and as an
Uh,
author on if this can be something that really occurs in a workplace. But it
yeah.
was on Hulu. It was called The Other Black Girl, and you would love it. And it's ultimately a story about a very well-known publishing agency who had published this book from an author who was very well known within the community, a person of color, a black girly.
Hmm.
And you look at the show and you're like, oh my God, that's amazing. This girl, she's starting a job at, an author she looks up to publishing company. And then all these weird things start happening, these occurrences and, microaggressions, things like that, but more on the microaggressions turning scary. So like, oh, your afro is too big, and then they're going forward and forcing her to
Uh,
perm it, things like that. It's really good. I think it's super funny. There are a lot of key characters in it that are not
mm,
black, which I think is great. Like her boyfriend is white, and he's like the funniest character on the show to me. Like because it's like usually how people are like, oh, black people, they catch things, they're running. They're not even like sitting around to ask questions. The stereotype of like, oh, we either die first in the movies or we live till the end because we're not
yeah.
playing. He was the one who was like, you guys are black. Why are you not like using your head right now? And it was just so funny to me because it's like, he's the voice of reason for the show. I love
Yeah.
it. And it's a new take because yes, we are always the voice of reason in TV, but we don't always want to be. Sometimes we're slow too.
Yeah.
Sometimes we want to know what sound is going on next door. Me personally, no, but I've seen it. I've seen people.
Yeah.
What's that banging? Let's go.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it literally has nothing to do with color, like So I thought it was funny that he was the voice of reason on the show because everybody was like downplaying him as like this character that shouldn't talk. He's just, comedic relief, but he actually wound up saving everybody in the end. It's only one season, unfortunately. Hulu canceled it, but I think
Dang.
you would love it. I think you would really see some like gems and some little Easter eggs that you'll be like, Tizzy was right. Like, I love this show. I was so mad it ended, but it's really great. And that takes me to my next question. Do you think that there should be more shows or TV shows, excuse me, or more films that kind of depict what an author's life is like? Or do you feel like we should keep it incognito? Just, you guys continue to be the writers and keep it
Okay.
behind the scenes? Or how are we feeling about, script writers becoming authors or vice versa?
Okay. That is a good question. Wow. Okay. I definitely think there should be more shows and movies about it. Like, there's so many sides. Like, you look at authors like Sarah J. Maas, and you're like, "Whoa, girl, what is your life like? Like,
Yes.
what do you hide in your rooms?" You know what I'm saying? And then you're like looking at Edgar Allan Poe, and you're like,
I need
"Whoa."
his movie ASAP. I know they did one back in the day, but we need a more relevant one because after reading that book he did, and you know what book I'm talking about, where the guy cuts out the other guy's heart and he hides it, and he's the only one that hears it, and then he
Mm,
winds up going, I guess mentally insane, and he's like,
yeah.
"Here, I'm taking the body out,
Yeah,
arrest."
yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, what was on your mind when you were writing that? Him,
Exactly.
Shakespeare. I need a book for like a movie on all of them.
Mm. Yeah, I saw a story the other day, and it was actually, I was watching Drunk History, I'm not gonna lie.
Love Drunk
Uh,
History. Oh my gosh. My teacher was showing us that in high school. We should not have been watching it, but it's so good. I love it.
yeah, there was one about Shakespeare, and it was talking about how um, him and his group of writers and actors and actresses were being charged like an outrageous fee for this land that their theater was on. And so they literally took it apart and then rebuilt it somewhere else in like the course of a day or two or something while this guy was like on vacation or something. And I was like, what?
How do we apply that to a film, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
It's so many, and it's not sucks, but it kind of is disheartening to know like so many creatives back in the day are no longer around. Like, and then like they were tortured by their art. Like Vincent Van Gogh is one of my favorite of all time,
Yeah.
all time. And like first of all, one, he was an Aries too. So my mind was just like, oh my God, me and Vincent Van Gogh were like, but then it
Yeah.
kind of scares me because I'm like, oh my goodness, us Aries, we do get kind of, we ready to throw everything
Yeah.
up when we're not getting what we want. So I'm like, oh man, is this how the creative journey is going to go for me? No, totally joking. But just hearing how like his greatest art wasn't done up until like maybe 2 to 3 years before his unfortunate demise is just like, wow, like, could we even like go forward and ask these creatives questions or see what that looks like? Or were they so
Yeah.
like overwhelmed? They probably saw another person was like, get away from me. If you're not art, I don't want to
Yeah.
deal with you.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's funny that you say that. I actually have a Starry Night.
Stop. That's one
Yes.
of my favorite like obsessed. How can I go forward and buy this painting? How much is it? When I saw the 7-figure price attached to it, I just said and clicked off. I said, I'll get the dupe. How will they
Facts.
know? How will they know? They'll know. But how will they know? You know?
Same. Yeah. No,
But I love that.
I'm over here with like the Target version of it. So,
don't laugh at me. In college, I had the tapestry. Everybody used to call me so like corny. They'd be like, "You're so corny," and I'm like, "You don't get it. This is like my favorite. Are you telling grown women who still like Hello Kitty that is foolish?
yes,
Right?
facts.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, and I don't because everybody has what they love. I mean, I love Snoopy as well. So it's like, but I'm not one of those people who are like, oh my God, I need a Snoopy bowl. No, 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 no. I just love it because my dad grew up calling me that, like,
Mm,
so it's more like a momentous thing than it is like a consumerism thing. Like, if I see something Snoopy, I'll go, oh my goodness, and keep it going. But
yeah.
I know people who are
You're
super
like,
upset.
picture.
Yeah, picture mentally. Like, okay, if I want this, I'll come back. But Vincent Van Gogh, A Starry Night, I need that. Like, I don't know
Mm,
how. I don't know who I have to call. I don't know if I have to like reach out to the Kardashians and say, hey, I need $100 million loan. Do you
right.
mind? But as if, but
Yeah. Yeah.
hoping that,
Do a girl a favor, right?
right? Like, please, Kim, like, help me.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've always wanted like a Starry Night one where there's like lights behind it that
that's
twinkle.
beautiful. Yes, that would be really nice, and maybe even like one of those lights that kind of like stream. The
Mm,
ones that they have now where you could connect it and it becomes like water or like it looks like
yes.
water. I love that. Look. Let me write that down. Let me steal it from you. So when I get my little dupe from Target, I could just go forward and flex it. But I get that entirely. I
Mm,
love that. That's a great idea. Oh my goodness. Okay, so for Brendan, if you had to choose 5 books, or we don't have to do five because I know that's a lot of thinking. You might go back to
mm,
the classics. But if
yeah.
you could think of 3 books, I'll do 3 off the top of your head right now that should go forward and be movies. And I'll share mine too, because I have a few.
Okay.
What would you choose as far as like movies that you would want to be? I'm sorry, books that you would want to be movies.
Oh, that's a tough question. I'm excited for your answers too.
I think you'll
Um,
like them too.
I think I will too. Okay, so starting off, I know Colleen Hoover has been getting her movies made, so I'm sure it's only a matter of time.
Right.
But Regretting You was the first book I read by her, and it was really good. I think I'd really like to see that because it's like not, I don't know. I feel like a lot of her books are kind of like related, like have a little bit of like trauma in it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's good. Uh, right. And so that one definitely goes over like some relationship and like kind of like FOMO trauma. And so I think that would be really good in a movie. Uh, oh, what else do we have here? That is a good question. I love Harry Potter books. They already made movies about those.
I agree with you. I feel like they need to remake them. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I don't. I'm not I hate I'm so Brendan. I hate a remake, but
Yes.
for my mental capacity, I need Harry Potter remade. I need
Yes.
it more recent and relevant. I was a little kid when Harry Potter first came out, probably 8. Didn't I could not my mind wasn't mentally grasping that. Like even in pretend, I'm like that's
Mm,
not something that's real. We're not here playing Quidditch. I'm not
Yeah.
Hufflepuff. You're not Slytherin. You know.
Yeah,
So I'm just
exactly.
like one ear and out the other. I'm just like, this isn't real. So I'm not gonna like it. Like I hate her, but as
Mm,
I grew up and watched the movies, I'm like, wow, this is actually as a kid, like if I wasn't so anal and like
yes.
so into rom-coms because I was the little girl watching How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And maybe that's why I didn't like Harry Potter because the
Yeah.
real life situations was already hitting me.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to hear about magic. Kate
Right.
Hudson
Yeah,
literally
exactly. Yeah.
had to
The only
have
magic I'm trying to see is
his
what's in
love.
between me and this six pack that's in front of me.
Like, how can I marry Matthew McConaughey if I'm 10 and he's 35? Like, this in my head, like, you think he'll wait for me? No.
Yeah, right.
But I love
Man.
that. Okay, so Harry Potter, some
Mm,
Colleen Hoover book.
yes.
What would
Also,
our third be? Sorry.
I have one of my favorite classics over there, on my piano, and it is The Great Gatsby.
Oh, shut up. Why are we here right now? The Great Gatsby is one, first of all, my favorite book and my
Yes.
favorite movie. I love the
Yes.
movie. I want them to remake it though. But oh my God, I can't even finish it. Like I cry every time Daisy literally hits that
Mm,
woman. And she
mm, mm.
runs him and she's like, Jay, I did something terrible. And he's like, don't worry, I got you. And I'm like,
Yep.
don't do it for her.
Yeah.
She doesn't even, oh my God. And I can't, the guy who played Tom, till this day,
Bro.
if I see him on the street, just get him out my way.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what was her name? The one who played the side piece. I forgot her name. What? It wasn't Amy Adams. It was the one who looked like her.
Um,
Um, Isla Fisher, the one who's
yes.
married to Borat. Yes. Me and Isla, we got to fight. I'm just so upset. Like, why would you do that? You knew this man was married. Why were
Yeah.
you just around chilling in his car, doing what you had to
Mm,
do? Like, I'm disgusted with you.
exactly. Yeah. Oh my gosh, bro. The movie, and I love how they like, okay, first time I
Yes,
watched the
the
movie, I was like, why did
cinematography,
they
right?
put this modern music in this shit? And then the second time I watched it, I was like, wow, I would not have this any other fucking way. Like, this is so good. I'm sorry, can I cuss on you?
You could definitely curse on her. We're grown as hell.
Okay.
Can I
But
be
yeah.
so real with you, Brennan? I And if I could get compensation for this, I will call the Cochran Law Firm tonight. I literally still to this day have the Great Gatsby. Unfortunately, they took it off of Apple Music, but I have the soundtrack between Beyonce's remix
Mm,
of Back to Black
yep.
to Emily Sandé singing Crazy in Love to the H to the Izzo playing while they were driving across the Brooklyn Bridge.
Hmm.
That it scratches my brain so good. So good.
I I agree with you.
No
Like
skip.
like I said, like the first time I was like,
No,
oh, this is dumb. Why would they mix it?
I
But
said
like,
the same thing though. Like
yes.
1920s, and you're watching people drink champagne in like a 1920s car. H to the Izzo. I was like,
Yeah.
in a movie theater, like, are we hearing the same thing?
Yes.
But I
But
mean,
I
we watch
honest
Bridgerton now, so
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah, but I honestly have like that like five songs from that playlist on my phone too that I listen to like almost weekly. So,
and I have to ask: is "A Little Party Never Killed Nobody" one of those songs?
yes.
Of course it is. We're here. I love that.
That Back to Black, the Lana Del Rey one. What's that one called?
Oh my God, will you still love me?
Yes.
God, Young and Beautiful. Stop. You're gonna make me cry right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what year of any time that I'm listening to that song, there's always a teardrop at that last bar where she's like, will you still in a
Yeah.
little raspy voice. I'm just like,
Yeah.
Lana, we can get him together. Like, stop letting him break your heart like this because now I'm heartbroken.
Exactly.
Beautiful song. Oh my
It,
gosh.
did you hear that she like married some like random person?
How about one of my friends does I think some marketing and PR for a few celebrities, and one of her clients at the time was Quavo. So I know you guys remember like them just being photoed together, things like that.
Mm,
So one day I wrote her because I'm like, you work with Quavo. You posted this picture of him and Lana together. You're in proximity. Drop the T.
yeah,
She was
facts.
like,
Yeah.
And I was like, are they a thing? And she just totally laughed at me. And she was like, I cannot confirm nor deny. And we were just dying. And I'm just like, all right, I'm going to take that as a yes. But I'm going to keep it, keep it off the blogs. And we were dying laughing. And then literally 3 days later, that report came out. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, why did you troll me?
Yeah. For
So
real.
this lady has a whole husband, literally
Ex-
so happy with him.
Yeah.
And you got me thinking her and Quavo are about to be like the new Beyonce and Jay-Z or
Mm.
something. Like, and the
Hmm.
whole time she's in love with a Louisiana,
Yeah.
you know, crawdaddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
I love
love
it.
that.
That definitely reeks of Lana. Like Lana
It,
is so unpredictable and spontaneous and
mhm.
down to earth. I wouldn't see her honestly dating or marrying a celebrity. I don't know. I've never seen it from her because she definitely could have did it in the past. She dated
Yeah.
ASAP, a few other high musicians, and I'm like, she just never gave that. I need a man to push me. Like I'm Lana, you know.
Yeah.
You
I
would be on my side, not the not the other way around.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
We
So what are
love
your
Lana.
books?
Okay, so my books, and I have three. My first one, it was a book I read when I was very young. It was called The Earth, My Butt, and Other Big Round Things. And
Oh.
yes, it's such a good book. But it's more like real life scenarios. I read the book when I was like 14. And
Mm.
it's about a girl who, I was a plus size girly, growing up, still am. But reading a book for the first time that show like just because you have a big shape or, you are, excuse me, you have like body dysmorphia, it doesn't mean that you're not beautiful. You shouldn't like look at yourself and think because I'm not what the girls in the magazine look like that I'm not wanted or I'm not
Yeah.
worthy of love. And that book was really great. It's so funny because towards the end she like winds up dating a guy who she thought just wanted to use her for her body, but come to find out he was very insecure about his body as well. And I
Wow.
just thought it was like a beautiful end. Um,
I love that.
yeah, it's a really good book. I read it like 3 times. I'm really trying to go forward and just buy it for my collection. Like I'm one of those people, Brenden, who will buy a book, could have read it
Mm.
40 times, but just need it in my collection.
Yes.
You're gonna hate me for this one, but it needs to be redone as well. And I'm the same one. Like I hate remakes. I don't want to see. But a
Yeah.
series of unfortunate events. That book
Yes.
saved my childhood. Literally have the collection till this day. Like at my
Yes.
my library right there. Like my parents bought me all 12 books.
Okay.
Yeah. No, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Have you seen or have you watched the series How I Met Your Mother?
Yes.
So in like the series of unfortunate events, the TV show that they made, Barney was the uh Mr.
Mr. Poe. Yes.
Yes.
But what's his name? He also plays the one who plays no, no, no. I know who you're talking about. Yes, How I Met Your Mother. I'm thinking about the narrator because I'm like, yes, the narrator was also he plays Joe from Family Guy. Patrick, I forgot his
Right.
name, but he plays a few voice
Oh, okay,
characters. So I
yeah.
was like, I recognize his voice because like I could close my eyes and just hear a voice. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really like how they casted Mr. Poe. I thought he was great, especially
Yes.
when he was always coughing and sick. I thought they did very great on that detail,
Yeah.
and it's like because in the original Mr. Poe was white, but I loved how in this one he was black, and they were still able to show like him always being sick and having that little red nose, and
Mm.
like what they did with the film. Like his nose
Yeah.
was just like uber red, and I'm like,
Yeah.
should you go see a doctor about that? You're always coughing, your nose is red. Are you good?
Yeah.
And I love that Jim Carrey played Lemony. I keep calling him
Lemony
Count
Snicket.
Olaf. Lemony Snicket was
Okay.
the author. Look, we're getting old. But I would definitely remake that. I think
Hmm.
there's so many people today who could really do a great job playing Count Olaf and the kids. So I would have that remade. I like the series. I wasn't like upset with the series. I just thought it being Netflix, it would have been a lot better.
I agree.
I hate to say that the movie was a lot better than the series, but
Yep.
you know, I hate that they tried to stuff all the movies. Like basically the movie is like 5 books, I think. It's like um up until Ursat's elevator, but in the first
Hmm.
movie you have of course when they meet Count Olaf, when they go to the first uncle's house and he has the snake, then the third aunt's house who has the leeches, and
Mm.
so I think they go up to like Ursat's elevator, which is when they move in with people or whatever. But that's my second one. My third one, whew, I was just thinking about it too. It hasn't been made yet, but it was these books that I also read. It's so crazy how all my things are series. Like, am I original? But I would go for it. Well, and I have an honorable mention as well because I would really love to see this movie on the film. I've read the book, but I've never seen like an adaptation of it. But number
Hmm.
three, I would have to say the Bras and Broomsticks series, where the girl
Oh,
finds out that she's a witch in high school. It's so good. It's so good. It's like a whole thing. It's like bras and broomsticks, underwear, and like, of course, relating to witchy things, but it's
mm.
so good. So good. I liked it. And I love how in the book, she's not your normal girly. Like her family is from out the country. They're from India. So like there's a lot of
Oh,
Indian themes in the book as well, which I thought was great. Because you hear witch and you think it's like standard American,
mm.
background that doesn't really have too much culture. So it was nice to see how like very heavily cultural, um, very heavy cultural demographics be in this book. Like her
Yeah.
best friend is a black woman, and her best friend also happens to be Jamaican. So it was just so
Hmm.
crazy to me to see like, because in our communities, magic is something. Well, I'm Caribbean, so magic is something like my grandma. She comes from Barbados, my
Yeah.
dad's side of the family. So magic is one of those things. Like some could be like, okay, great, but others will be like, stay the hell away from me. What do you mean you can transform into this or transform into
Yeah.
that? So it was nice to see that it was generally accepted in that series.
Uh-huh. That's awesome. Those
Yeah,
are
I
good
think those are
choices.
two. Yeah. And my honorable mention is Catcher in the Rye. I've never seen, like, it's so hard for me to read the book. Like, I'll read it, and at the end, I'll be like, what the hell was this about? Like, every time I
Yeah.
finish a book, I'm like, what is wrong with him? I forgot his name. Calden? I forgot his name in a book. But he just, like, why are you 15 traveling around New York by yourself drinking?
Yeah.
Hiring prop? Like, I was so confused by the book. I'm like, this is the book that they want to put in like the best literary works of all time. A
Hmm.
15-year-old going on a solo trip to
Yep.
sleep with prostitutes.
Yep.
I said, wow, this was America in the 50s.
Exactly. Uh, I recently reread the original Alice in Wonderland, and
Oh, I've never read it. I've read like a few pages, and I've seen a movie, but I've never read the book in totality. How was that?
it it was so like I don't know if you read it as an adult, but like the
No, I haven't.
stuff they read you as a kid was not Alice in Wonderland. Like the original Alice in Wonderland is like so messed up. Like we need some clarification on what was happening because like there is some sick stuff in there, but it was interesting.
I agree with that. And now I'm literally gonna, after this call, jump on Amazon and next day ship this book. I could wait until after Christmas. I'm not anal about it, but
Mm,
I need that. I need to read
yeah.
that tonight. I don't know if I can get one of these free book apps for right now and read a couple
Mm,
pages, but oh my gosh. I was already a little weirded out by this queen not even meeting this lady and wanting her to be put to her demise. I
yeah.
never understood that. And then you're the queen of hearts. Like, that's kind of like contradictory.
Uh-huh.
And then the rabbit just telling her to eat things. I'm like, whoa, eat
Yeah.
this, drink me, eat
Yeah,
me.
exactly.
I don't know. Like, and then like the innocence it portrayed of Alice, like as far as like, and is it true that Alice was like kind of like a bad child, not a bad child, but like one of those children who weren't listening, like kind of like ward of the state, right? Like kind of
Yeah.
like okay.
Yeah,
So now
because
I understand. Because I'm like, in the movie, it showed her as like this beautiful princess who just so happened to get swept away. But I'm like, in the book, I kind of remember reading in the beginning that she was kind of like no parents, very much on the street, hence why she was quick to eat and drink things. But not too sure how true that is.
yeah, I know that she was like hungry, and then she was also crying whenever she was I don't remember if it was whenever she was chasing the rabbit or something, but I know she was upset about something. So yeah, she wasn't a little angel. Let's be real.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, then the person they had play her at the time, I think it was Dakota Fanning's little sister,
Mm.
Elle Fanning, and I'm just like, is she gonna be every Disney princess? She's Alice in Wonderland, she's
Yeah.
Aurora. I'm like, wow, I need her
Hmm.
bag. I need the contract.
Hmm.
But I love that. Yeah, I have to definitely go reread Alice in Wonderland. I really also want to see like some Dr. Seuss books be made more into movies. I really
Yes.
like the Lorax. I thought it was really well done, especially with the music element.
Mm.
Um, I haven't seen. I think they did a Green Eggs and Ham, right? No, not yet. Or did they?
I
I'm
think
not
they
sure.
might have. I haven't looked
Yeah, I
into
haven't
it.
either. I'm so bad. Like I haven't even
Same.
seen the new Grinch either. I know a lot of the kids, the one with Tyler doing the soundtrack, a lot of the
Mm.
kids love it. But
Mm.
I'm very anal about our history, Brennan. Do you mind me asking what year you were born?
Oh, one.
Oh, oh one. Oh my goodness, you make me sound so old. I'm 96, but my brother was oh 01. So yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason
No,
I
you're
ask
not
is
old.
I'm older, but the reason I ask is because like certain movies like I will not rewatch. Like The Grinch is one of them. Um
Oh,
yeah, I'm very Jim Carrey or bust. Like we're not
yeah.
I don't care about Tyler the Creator rapping and making a hip hop collective to the Grinch. No.
Yep. Yeah.
That's what I want to see. I want to see that live action dog. I want to see Max be a cute little dog.
Hmm.
Um yeah, and another movie too that I really like that I think is like really good, but I think the book is okay. So that's my next question. I'm so excited about this. Like to see another bookworm, I'm like, where have we been? But if you could name three books, I mean three movies that you wish were were not okay, three movies that you either wish were books or three movies that you think should not have been remade from a book. Whichever one is
Ooh.
easier to answer, you can answer.
Oh, that's so hard. Oh man. Let's see. The Titanic was good.
Hmm.
Um, what are some like
That
movies
would be
that?
a good book too. I was like maybe 3 years yesterday old, finding out that Titanic wasn't a book first. It was just an
Yeah,
original screenplay.
yeah, yeah.
I love
If
that.
if if somehow they could like picture what the way that it was in that movie in words, I think that would be great. I'm trying to think of who's that main character's actor. I'm so disappointed in myself because he's also the Great Gatsby.
Oh,
So
he does that too. Dang!
yes, he does. Yeah. Oh,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
DiCaprio.
I was gonna say Da
Yes.
Vinci. Yes,
Yes.
DiCaprio. Oh my
If
gosh, yes.
if somehow they could put into words like how he was in his prime like that, then yes.
I like that. I like that. I would one up you if a book could be, well, a movie could be a book. I would say Us, because that would
Ooh,
terrify me in a book. Like
ooh.
if we could like show that raw emotion within somebody, and it would be a really great book. Imagine you're reading a book about somebody who looks just like you, and they're
Uh,
you're tethered, or you're. Oh man, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. If it was a book, I know he recently did an annotated screenplay for it though. I put it on my Christmas list. I needed that.
really? Okay.
Hmm.
First of all, Jordan Peele.
Icon, icon.
Yes. Yes.
Whatever's in his head, I need, I need like 14 of them. Like
Exactly.
just write it out.
It is gold. It is
Literally,
gold.
I mean, he has not missed. Oh, and I would
Mm,
do Nope as a book too. That would be
no.
such a good book. That would remind me of War of Worlds by George Orwell. Well, it wasn't technically a book,
Oh
but
yeah.
well, it was a book, but they also did like the radio broadcast of it.
Hmm.
Which don't take broadcasting in school. They tell you that every class, and it's like, all right, he did that, all right. It was so great back in your day. Like
Yeah.
it was like colored TV, woo. But
Right. Yeah.
but I thought it was a yeah. I would do that. I think it would be a great book. Yeah, that'd be really
Yeah,
good.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah,
And
I
there's
like to.
never enough good horror books.
It's. I think we need more horror books. I feel like
Hmm.
there's no like we don't see The Conjuring in a book,
Right.
but we'll see like 12 different versions of this is the end or
Yeah.
whatever that show is called. We'll see 10 versions of a book like that. 10 versions of a book similar to How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Oh, if I could do a movie that would also be a book, and don't laugh at me, but I would have to do Bad Boys too. I think that would be a really good book.
Really? Have you
Yeah.
watched because they came out with a third one, right?
I think it's the fourth one, and yes, I've seen it. The only reason I've seen it though is because, and don't laugh at me, Brendan, but I feel like the reason I watched the other two is it's like, what you gonna just stop at two? Like
Yeah.
you said, number two is your favorite movie, but you didn't see the rest.
Yeah.
But like I told you, I'm a classic girly. As soon as I saw those two other ones, I went back to my originals and was like, yes, this is what I
Hmm.
need. This is what I want to see, in my Jack voice because, um, I really didn't like the last one. I didn't have an issue with it, but it was just like they're grandfathers now. They're at that age where we can see the stunt double. We're not foolish.
Hmm.
But also like why not relate it to themes around older men in the force? All
Hmm.
right, we're not as crime solving and on the street as we used to be. We're more of a paper pushers now. I would have
Yeah.
loved to see in something like that, like, oh, we're old now. Will Smith's character doesn't like being older. He wants to continue to be in, the action. And then
Hmm.
eventually they stay down and then they have that crime that, they have to go investigate and it brings them out back into the action. That would have made a lot more sense. But the fourth movie and we still pretending that Will Smith is 100% shot marksman and he's
Yeah.
doing hops over car. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
he's 60. Like, and I'm not saying that's not something you can do because definitely, but let's be real. This is not Will Smith in 2004. This is Will Smith in
Yeah.
2024.
This
So,
is post slap Will Smith, you know.
this
This
is
is
no. Literally, Will Smith is not playing around anymore. Maybe you're
I know.
right, Brendan. Maybe we should have kept him in action because he's letting you know
Yeah.
like this is acting.
It's funny that you say that. I thought of another, and I'm bad for not knowing this, but I don't think it's a book, but it might be. If it's not, it definitely should be. That Will Smith movie, where he was the last person on Earth, and he had his dog. His
Yes. Dang, I forgot the name, but I know exact.
I Am
I am.
Legend.
Yes, I was gonna say I am human. Yes, I am.
Yeah. Yes, I Am Legend. I think that would have been a good like book, like dystopian, like gives a Divergent type
I
feel.
love that. I think that would also be a really good book too, and it would be great for like the time frame of now. Like I feel like
Mm,
dystopian slash kind of like dystopian slash like after the world type
hmm.
books. Those will never fail. And that
Yeah.
kind of puts me into the question I asked you about three books that I feel like shouldn't have been movies. I don't know if you've seen The Uglies on Netflix yet, but Veto. It was horrible. And I'm tired of what's her name?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Like the
Gyp-
girl with like the bunny cheeks.
yeah, Gypsy Rose.
Yeah.
We don't not be calling that girl Gypsy Rose. But yeah, Gypsy Rose was playing the main character. I
Hmm.
didn't really like it. And it pissed me off, Brendan, because I don't know if you know who Keith Powers is. He plays in a few shows. He's this actor. He played in like the New Edition movie.
Hmm.
But he is a gorgeous man. Like 10 out of 10. Why are we pretending this man is ugly? And why are we pretending this man chooses to be ugly? Like it was like
Yeah.
you've read the Uglies before, I'm sure, or heard the like premise. It's basically about like this
Yeah.
dystopia, of course. So I'm like, are we really gonna sit here and pretend Keith Powers is ugly? Okay, fine. Like that pissed me off 30 minutes into the movie. I'm like, all right, we're gonna pretend someone gorgeous as hell is ugly. Let's pretend.
Yeah.
Not saying she was ugly and she sold me, but it's like her features can be a little bit off-putting. Like
Mm.
somebody could be like, "Oh, your nose is a little too Whoville-ish," or you have like that little hump that's a little too humpy, or your forehead is small, like little things. But I'm like, this man has a full shape up, nice clothes, clean, teeth white. Why are we pretending?
You're like, he was on Vogue last week. I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about.
God, he's choosing to do this because he's like, damn, I'm already looking good. Like, why would
Yeah.
I? And then I would say, the Uglies, and what was the other one, that I thought was a heart? The Giver. I was very upset because The Giver was one of my favorite books growing up, and I was heavily upset with how the movie was. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
valid. Yeah, that's valid. Cause
And I
like,
knew you would agree. I feel like everybody who's read The Giver was like, at the
yeah,
theaters after, like, why are you playing in our face?
exactly. Yeah, yeah. You're like, you just wasted 2 hours of my life.
And I
Cause
can't get that back. I cannot get that back. That reminds me too. They should make. Have you ever read House on Mango Street?
uh-uh.
House on Mango Street is a good book. I think they should have made that a movie. And then Elsewhere is another good book that I think they should make a movie. But I think there's a show called Elsewhere. I'm not sure if it relates to the book, but Elsewhere
Hmm.
is basically about a reincarnation. Basically, a young woman passes away. She goes to heaven. And in the midst of being in heaven, they age backwards until they're zero. And then they go back
Oh,
onto Earth and they're reborn. So, like, she gets there, she meets her grandmother who died when she was, I think, like 15. But at the time she's there, um, the girl, when she passed away, I think she's like 27. But her grandma's there. Her grandma is like, when her grandma passed away, her grandma was like 60.
oh
So,
wow.
yeah, the grandma was 60, but the little girl, she was like 15. So when she
Uh,
gets to Elsewhere, she finds out like her grandma's 45, looks totally different, but is her
yeah.
grandma. So it was a really good book. Haven't read it since like ninth grade, but I think that would
Mm,
be a great rewrite to put into theater.
I agree. That sounds like such a good plot.
Let's do it. Let's do it, Brenden. Let's get on the screenwriting and let's get this money.
Oh, bro, let's make it happen. I'm ready
No,
for it.
literally. I love that. I love that you like we were able to have a conversation centered around books. You don't know how refreshing that is in 2024 where everything is so technology centric.
Oh,
Like
I
just
know.
to be able to talk about books, like I love that.
Yeah,
Um so thank you for that. Like I
of
feel
course.
like when you feel like you go to church and you got the word and you're just like,
Yeah,
oh, my week is great. I can just
yeah.
flow through the week. I feel like this conversation can have me flow
Feel,
through the holidays. Like I met somebody else who likes to read. We like the same books. Like it,
yeah.
yeah. So
I
I
feel
would say
cleansed. Yeah.
right, very much all one. Like so, I love that we were able to sit around and talk about books. So I know we're
Mhm.
coming up on an hour. See, I told you it goes so quick. Like when you're having
I
good
know.
conversation, like but is there anything you would love to promote at the moment? I would love to give you this moment now to talk about any upcoming publishing or
Yeah.
publication coming up, any events you may be having where people can find you and learn more about what publishing is like or, being an author. This is your time to shine, Brenden.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, I love it. So, publishing industry, there's a lot of people, just as we've talked about, like in this podcast, that like there's a lot of people that have been transitioned away from like reading, writing, and a lot of it has to do with like social media, electronics, and I'm not blaming it. I use electronics every day.
I'm telling you.
But yeah, right, exactly, yeah. But one thing that my company specifically, and that I'm working on doing, is really bringing this literature industry into technology, into the future, so that like it's not left behind and that we'll have so many more opportunities to like experience it in different ways. So we're actually working on a couple of projects right now that I'm super excited about. I can't give like too many details, but
Uh-oh. Okay,
uh,
so it sounds like we're gonna have to bring you back too once that news drops. I love it.
yes,
My
I would
guests
love.
love me so much. They're like, we're not going to tell you, but we will be back. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
yes, come back. You
yes,
better. I love it.
yes, no, I'm super excited about it. We're trying to raise some funding right now for it, but it's going to be a huge deal. Some other things that I'm super excited about is we're working on two books that are pretty close to being published, probably here in 2025 that we're excited about. So keep an eye out for those by two debut authors. We are also going to be at Kansas City's Flamin' Fantasy Ball. It's like a ball for any sort of fantasy fanatics. We're going to be doing a book fair.
Shut up. Why am
What?
I just hearing about this?
Girl, come on.
And you could
Let's.
like cosplay and all, like any book or anything like that, or like
Yes.
send me
Girl.
the info. Send me the
Okay.
info. Okay.
I will, because if you are prepared, the ball itself, so you'll have like a book fair in the morning, and then the ball itself in the evening. They're going to have like silk dancers, fire dancers, like
This sounds so
burlesque.
fun. I'm sorry. I'm like internally screaming because I'm like, why am I not? Why do New York not have these things? Why does New
Yeah,
York?
for real, for
Why is
real.
it so boring? The city that never sleeps. We sound very sleep right now. We're missing opportunities.
I know. Let's bring it to New York. Let's do
We
it.
should. You know how many like it's so crazy. Like people don't realize how heavy one the anime community is in New York, but more
Yeah.
importantly, like the literary and like publication syndication like
Yeah.
area as well. Like
Oh yeah.
we, yeah, okay. So sorry, I get to
Yeah, yeah. We're going to talk about this later.
Yes,
We're
definitely, because we'll stop right now and really
yeah.
unpack. But
Yeah, so be looking out for our event in New York here coming up in the next year or two. So, yeah.
okay,
Uh,
excited.
but yeah, no, super excited about all those things. So feel free to reach out. Make sure you follow Tizzy and the podcast because she is doing some great work, and we're going to be back for round two.
Yes, we are. I definitely want to be back around too, and I'm going to sneak up on you to that event because I think that's a great event to attend, not only for my own personal gain and my own personal fun, but also doing some interviews as well through my platform to
Yes.
Z Talks and just hearing about people's dreams and stuff. So I think that would be amazing, and I'm super excited too to hear about those two books that are coming out. I'm excited to hear more about the published authors. I know you own a publishing company, but if they're interested in promoting those books and if coming up and we can do a group one where we talk about that news you have and the release
Okay.
of their books. I think that would be great. And yeah,
Yeah.
please let me know so I can put my order on pre-order.
Yes.
I'm not fighting with you guys in Barnes and Noble, okay? I will have mine
Yes,
a month
yes, ma'am.
ahead,
That sounds good. That sounds amazing.
I love it. And I definitely want to check out your book again, A Spark Before the Flame. I think that's going to be super fun. And Alice in Wonderland too. Those are my two reads for 2025. So I'm super excited about delving into that. And yeah, if you guys want to learn more about Brenden, just follow him at Clermont Publishing, send him an email, send him a DM, ask any questions that you guys may have. And Brenden is great. I mean, like you heard us here talking. I mean, super conversational, super easy, like easy going. No, literally, like you're the
Yeah.
best. So I appreciate it so much. And, I just want to thank the guests that I've come on in the past and yourself as well for not only just being amazing people, but just being so cool and dope that I can have a conversation with you and not feel like it's, work or feel like
Yeah.
it's, something hard. It's a passion, it's a love. And you guys just make me want to continue to do it and love to do it even more. So I appreciate you so much for jumping on as my co-host today, Brenden. And I wish you and Claremont Publishing a whirlwind of success. This is not our last time we will be speaking, or
Yes.
will it be the last? It won't even be the last time we have you on here. So I'm really excited that you jumped on today, right before the holidays. We got to
Yes.
make it, have a little fun and talk about, some good drinks, some good movies, some good books. But I really appreciate it so much. Can you just tell people what your handle is on social,
Mhm.
your website name, anything like that?
Yeah, of course. So it's Claremont Publishing on everything. So we are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and then our website is www.claremontpublishing dot com. So yeah.
Yes. And make sure you guys go follow Brenden, follow Claremont Publishing. Make sure you guys are going forward and supporting another entrepreneur doing the damn thing. And you never know, there may be a time where you are jumping in your author bag and Brenden is the person to help you. Brenden gives you all the tips, can aid in any questions you have. I know I'll be,
Mm.
reaching out to him when I'm ready to do my tell all.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm really excited. But thank you so much, Brenden. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.